action is something that I've still not tapped into. It would be very, I definitely want to do an action film because I feel like the work that I'll have to put in would be a lot more than just like my performance. I'll get to learn a skill and maybe really channelize the badass energy in me. So I think action would be a challenge and a challenge enough for me to enjoy it. Norway versus Mrs. Chatterjee that just came in, it was a small film with like Rani Mukherjee, who we all love, and the film has done decent numbers. So let's not ignore the fact. The point is we need good cinema. Sure. I think that's what we are lacking. I feel like we have disappointed our audiences and we need to win their trust back. I don't think, I feel like it's a wave, right? Before, like a couple of years ago, it can be a Bareli Ki Barfi or some of my films, the mid-section films that they didn't exist. Yeah. It was we were again stuck between I hate saying it, but like either you were a niche art house film or you were like this massive pot boiler. So that middle segment didn't exist. But then with good stories, with strong stories, with like talent with newer talent, we kind of recreated that segment. And I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen. We need good films. But Badhai though. For example, we were the first film that came out after the lockdown on a 50% occupancy, with no night shows, with Delhi completely shut. We did somewhere in the mid-20s. At that point, we were like, oh my God, I don't know. But today, when I look at it at hindsight, there aren't the bigger pot boilers also that have done those numbers. So that kind of gave me the confidence that, no, if you have a good story, if you are true to what you're going to give your audiences, they will come in and watch it. The last 1 year, I think one of the best decisions that I took was doing Badhai Do. Yeah. I feel from Dam Laga Ke Haisha to Badhai Do, it's been quite a journey for me. And in every way possible, I feel like I got so much out of the film. Exactly the kind of love that I got for my first film. So I feel in the recent years, it definitely has to be Badhai Do. Honestly, I think the process is always different. For Dam Laga Ke Haisha, I was just counting my stars and I was like, ever so thankful because I got an opportunity to be an actor. There was no chance, with the background that I had or the opportunities that were in front of me, or as ma'am rightly said in my introduction, I truly feel that, I'm not what a conventional Hindi film actor looked like. I feel like that's changed a lot over the last few years. But I feel like every time I'm reading a script or I'm hearing a narration, at some point, there is this excited child that starts jumping and I'm like, oh my God, I want to play this character. Oh my God, I want to be a part of this story. Because for me, honestly, the length of the part does not matter. Right. And I feel I've been applauded many times when I've not kind of conformed to कि ना ये picture करो क्योंकि ना ये full picture आपके ऊपर है या ये picture मत करो क्योंकि यार इसमें 5 ही scene है. But I have actually experienced it with a film like Son Chiriya when I actually entered on the 45th minute. Right. And everyone was like, but why would you do this film? There are like 11 male actors and you have like I literally had 9 scenes that mattered in the film. But it was just something about working with that director or being a part of that story. I saw an opportunity. I was like, Bhumi, if you shine in these 9 films, there's nothing stopping you. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. So I don't really have a formula. Till now, I've not understood the math behind why a film works or why it doesn't work. I purely function from a place of love for cinema, from a place of the greed of leaving behind a legacy of work that can be watched by generations. I love purist songs, So for example, Momo Ke Dhage is my all-time favorite. That's the kind of music I personally love listening to. But, being a millennial, being a hardcore Bollywood lover, I can't get enough of my Tamma Tamma and Choli Ke Piche and, all the fun that I do. You need to watch me at weddings. I'm nothing like this, poised and, giving these answers. But I love Bollywood music.
This is the direction I want to go in. I want to be known as the next Sridevi, the next, I don't know.
I mean, honestly, no, I don't. I've really thought about it as I can't even, I have an idea of what my life needs to be like. And that idea was kind of, that vision came on to me when I was very, very young. And I'm just trying to fulfill every fragment of that vision. Now, whether that comes with me being a global star icon or whether that comes with the work that I do, I don't know. I just want to live a fulfilled life, and I still can't pinpoint what gives me that satisfaction. So it's an everyday journey. So I literally have no 5-year plans, no 10-year plans. I just want to keep going. The only thing I want to be is I always want to be relevant. I always want to be somebody who has an impact. I can't, I don't want to sound pompous, but I never wanted a normal life. You know, I'm asked this so often, don't you miss being normal? I'm like, no, I don't. This is all I ever wanted. I wanted people to know me for the work that I do. I wanted, as I said earlier, to be a good role model for many, and that's the life I'm living. I had a lot of climate anxiety, you know, because I always had these questions, okay, what happens when all our natural resources are depleted? How will I survive? I love my family so much. Will I be able to protect them? And as an adult, I realized that, okay, I have these questions, but I'm not doing enough about it. You know, I would be in like rooms full of powerful people. This is like a couple of years ago, and every time I spoke about it, people would like shun me away or shush me and be like, oh, this is not a real problem. But with everything that we are going through, I think it's very clear that climate change is real, and that's why we started Climate Warrior, an advocacy platform about climate change, and we've done some immense work, and I feel like this is not my battle alone. You know, this is a battle that all of us need to join hands in, because I truly believe that climate change is the largest looming threat that humanity will ever face. I think I have seen a change in the last few years, especially post the pandemic. You know, I think before that people were just ignorant and they're like, oh my God, no, some 3 generations later this is going to affect us. But the truth is, it is affecting us today. Right now, we all can feel it. So I feel like I've seen a certain amount of shift in attitudes, and people are taking up responsibilities. Like, I know sets that are going completely sustainable. You know, fashion is going sustainable in many, many ways. Are we doing enough? Absolutely not. But has the change started? I would like to believe yes. I feel like, you know, over the years, I've been very lucky that I've had a lot of different kind of genres come my way. But as you are absolutely right, thriller is something that's very new to me. But it's fun, you know, it's honestly a lot of fun, because you're always kind of walking on eggshells. And I feel when you're doing a thriller, there's no right or wrong way of doing something. So I'm enjoying it. I feel there's a lot more that I've still not tapped into. But at the moment, yeah, I have a couple of thrillers that I'm really trying to be very tight-lipped. And then came Sonchiriya, a film I was so attached to, because I gave that film 8 months of my life, and I was like, this is it. Like, you know, this film is really gonna be one of those that has like good content, etc., etc. But the film was off cinemas in 6 days, and it really broke my heart. But the film still lives on. When people speak of my filmography, they speak of a Dam Laga Ke Haisha, and the next film that they speak of is a Sonchiriya. There are so many filmmakers that have given me work because they loved my work in Sonchiriya. So maybe it did not find a larger audience, but the film did find an audience. So I feel that was a very big learning for me. But by the end of it, honestly, when I'm reading a script, I don't know what works, what doesn't work. Yes, I'm aware of what the environment globally is. You know, so I know like, okay, there might not be a lot of takers, but you always have that little hope that, you know, you don't know what might change. Because, for example, for Dam Laga Ke Haisha, right, on paper, nobody could imagine a film like Dam Laga Ke Haisha working. You know, because on paper, the male lead, you know, is not macho at all. There was nothing heroic about what Ayushmann was doing in the film. And I wasn't a conventional heroine, but the film broke barriers. So, you know, you always hope that it works. But, you know, as I said, Rajiv, by the end of it, I want to leave behind a legacy of good work. I want to leave behind films and characters and performances that can be watched through generations. I want to live on through my cinema. I don't think so. You know, for the first half of my career, I was like, no, these films are just coming on to me. But the truth is, these are my choices. I think I have I think it's inherently in my nature to give back. And I feel like the position that I'm at, I'm very fortunate that my work, my job, or my art gives me an opportunity to kind of give back. And this is kind of my way or my service to the society. And I feel like a lot of it comes from my upbringing, because, you know, I always saw my parents do the same through their own ways. And I have immense love for the country that I live in. I am a very, very proud Indian, and I always have been. So for me, to create to have any kind of positive impact within my country gives me a lot of pride and a lot of pleasure. So I feel like I'll always continue doing socially relevant cinema. But having said that, I also kind of enjoy dwelling into Pati Patni Aur Wo, or like, you know, some of the films that are going to come out, or, you know, because for me, I want to be entertained while I am filming that film. Right. You know, so even if it's a Bala or it's a Dam Laga Ke Haisha or a Sant Ki Aankh, you know, all these films have had a certain amount of lightness to them while kind of, and when a film like Toilet came out, we actually saw that change, because in every little village, taluka, district of India, Toilet Ek Prem Katha was played, and they'd seen that content and they were like, okay, this is my right. It is my right to have access to sanitization and good sanitary health. And we are very proud that, you know, post the film, and the film was celebrated globally. Post the film, we saw like massive change. So that was the first time I realized the power of cinema. You know, the way it can influence a large number of people. And I feel like since then, I have kind of been on this journey. Even if I speak of Badhai Do, you know, my latest film, after Badhai Do released, the amount of love the film received, you know, I remember I was in a theater in Dehradun, you know, I was filming at the moment, and there was this, there were a set of parents and their son, and they came up to me and they were broken, they were howling, and he was like, this was my coming out moment to my family. You know, so it can be something as small as that, and it can be something on a macro level like what Toilet Ek Prem Katha did. But I feel the power that cinema has is immense, and it would be really, really great if we have more people exercising it to the best of their ability.
Have you felt like these films have had a sort of personal impact on you, that they've changed you in any way, maybe educated you? Did you know as much about, say, sanitation and public sanitation and all of those things?
Every way. I feel like the person I am today is a sum total of all the characters that I have played. You know, I started off as, I would call myself privileged because I was born into a family that let me do what I desired. You know, I had great education. I was born in a city like Mumbai. So I would like to believe that, you know, I was privileged. But once I got into my life as an actor, I realized that, okay, I might be woke, but that's not enough. I wasn't woke enough. I wasn't sensitive enough. I wasn't empathetic enough. And my characters have made me that. Today, when, you know, it could be the work that I did in COVID, or it could be Climate Warrior, or, you know, it could be my position with the UNDP. I feel all of it has come because of the films that I've done. And all these parts have really shaped me up into a more responsible, empathetic human being. I mean, it can be the experience that I went through with Son Chidiya. You know, I was 26 and I was playing a mother to a 16-year-old who was a rape victim. And she was nurturing a young girl who she was on the run with. I did not ever feel that I could feel so maternal about somebody. And that little girl is still a part of my life. Like, you know, she's an everyday part of my life. She is my daughter. But that film did that to me. Right. It made me a lot more selfless. And I feel like with every film experience, I'm so fortunate that these movies have just, I would like to believe my films have really humbled me down.